The sky over the floating city of Valtheris glowed with strange colors as the twin suns began to set. The air shimmered with energy from the city's protective shields, and the tall towers of silver and glass reflected the fading light in 1,000 hues. High above the toxic oceans, the city looked peaceful, but inside the royal palace, tension filled the air. Princess Lyria paced the balcony, her hands gripping the smooth railing. Her golden eyes scanned the horizon, restless and anxious. Rumors had been spreading all day, rumors that made her stomach twist with fear. "Father," she whispered to herself. "Why did he come? I don't want to see him." King Therion, her father, the wise and respected ruler of Valtheris, entered quietly behind her. His presence was calming, but even he could not hide the worry in his eyes. "Lyria," he said softly, placing a hand on her shoulder. "The human warrior comes to help us. You must trust me." Lyria shook her head, her long hair catching the sunlight. "Father, I've heard stories. Humans are dangerous. They are strong, fearless, and unpredictable. I am scared of him." Therion sighed, understanding her fear but knowing it was misplaced. Fear is natural. But Kale, the human warrior, is here to help, not harm. You will see that he is brave, loyal, and clever. Sometimes the bravest beings are the ones we do not understand. Lyria did not answer. Her heart pounded as she imagined the human approaching. A stranger from a distant star carrying the reputation of being unstoppable in battle, her imagination filled with visions of chaos and destruction. Far above the city, the shadows of enormous spacecraft appeared. Lyria squinted and gasped. "Father, is that him?" Therion looked through the telescope and nodded. "Yes. That is Kale." The human ship descended through the atmosphere, cutting through the colored clouds. Unlike the sleek alien ships, it had a rugged design, practical and efficient. It did not shimmer or glow. It simply came straight with purpose and determination. As the ship landed in the royal courtyard, the ground trembled slightly. Guards lined up, their alien weapons glowing, ready to defend the princess. Lyria's fear grew. She had never seen a human before, only heard tales from traders and travelers. They spoke of their unpredictable nature, their strength, and their strange customs. The hatch of the ship opened with a hiss. Out stepped Kale, tall, broad-shouldered, and wearing armor that looked plain but strong. His boots crunched on the metallic surface of the courtyard, and his eyes scanned the surroundings calmly. There was something different about him, something that made him seem both ordinary and extraordinary at the same time. Lyria stepped back instinctively. "Father, he looks dangerous," she whispered. Therion chuckled softly, though there was tension in his voice. "He is a warrior, yes, but he will not harm you. Watch and see." Kale's gaze met Lyria's briefly. He nodded once, a simple gesture, yet it carried respect. Then he turned to Therion. "King Therion," he said in a deep, steady voice, "I come to aid you. The horde will not wait, and your city must be ready." The king nodded. "Welcome, Kyle. Your reputation precedes you. I hope your skill is as great as the tales suggest." Kyle smiled faintly. "I will do my best." Even though Kale spoke calmly, Lyria's fear did not fade. She watched as he moved through the courtyard with ease, greeting guards and servants without ceremony, examining the city's defenses with sharp, calculating eyes. Everything about him was confident, almost too confident. Later, Kale walked with King Therion to the command hall. Lyria followed from a distance, her curiosity stronger than her fear. She peered around a corner, watching as Kale studied the holographic displays of the city's shields and weapons. He frowned slightly, muttering something under his breath in a language Lyria did not understand. The king smiled. "Do you see, Lyria? Even the way he thinks is different, but he is clever, and he sees things we cannot." Suddenly, alarms blared. A minor attack from scouting drones of the alien horde had begun. The city's defenses activated instantly, energy barriers glowing and laser cannons spinning into position. The ground shook again as drones crashed against the shields. Kyle moved immediately, faster than anyone in the command hall expected. He leapt over consoles, pushed buttons, and shouted commands in the common tongue. Within moments, the drones were destroyed or disabled. The alien guards stared, mouths open in surprise. Lyria's fear mixed with awe. She had never seen anyone act with such speed and precision. Her small voice escaped her lips. "Father, he's amazing." King Therion placed a hand on her shoulder. "Yes, Lyria, he is. But remember, amazing can also look frightening. That is why you must not judge by fear alone." The battle ended quickly. The city was safe, but the tension in the air remained. Lyria approached Kale cautiously. Are you always this scary?" she asked, her voice trembling. Kale looked at her, and his expression softened. "I am not here to frighten anyone. I am here to protect. You have nothing to fear from me, Princess Lyria." Her eyes searched his face, looking for any sign of deception, but found none. Slowly, a sense of trust began to grow, though fear still lingered in the back of her mind. That night, the princess could not sleep. She gazed at the stars above the palace, thinking of Kale. How could someone so different be so powerful, yet kind? How could she feel fear and admiration at the same time? Meanwhile, Kale stood on the balcony near the palace gates, looking at the city's defenses and the horizon beyond. He was not one to boast, but he could feel the tension and doubt in the air. He knew that earning the trust of the aliens, especially the princess, would be harder than any battle he had fought. The next morning, Kale was already training with the city's soldiers. Lyria watched from a distance as he demonstrated combat skills that were unlike anything she had seen. He moved with strength and precision, but also with strategy, predicting enemy moves that no alien could foresee. She shivered as she realized why the people called him the unstoppable human warrior. Every action, every step, seemed impossible, yet effective. Her fear deepened, but so did her fascination. King Therion noticed her lingering at the balcony. "Do you understand now, Lyria?" he asked gently. "Fear is natural, but sometimes courage is stronger than fear. Kale may seem frightening, but he is here to defend us. He is proof that even those we do not understand can become our greatest allies." Lyria nodded slowly, still uneasy. I hope you are right, Father, but I am still scared of him." The king smiled, ruffling her hair. "Good. Let that fear remind you to be cautious, but do not let it blind you. You will see the truth soon enough." As the twin suns rose higher, Kale continued training, and Lyria watched, her heart a mix of fear, awe, and curiosity. The human warrior had arrived, and with him, a new chapter for Valtheris had begun, one that would test courage, trust, and the very meaning of strength. The day after Kale's arrival, the city of Valtheris seemed calmer, but the tension under its polished surfaces was thicker than ever. Citizens whispered about the human warrior in crowded market squares. Some admired him, others feared him. Lyria walked through the halls of the palace, trying to focus on her lessons, but her thoughts kept returning to Kale. Even from a distance, she watched him train the city's soldiers in the courtyard. Unlike the alien soldiers, whose movements were precise but predictable, Kale moved in ways that seemed chaotic, yet flawless. He twisted, leapt, and struck with an energy that frightened Lyria. "Father," she whispered during breakfast. "Why does he fight like that? It looks reckless. What if he hurts someone by accident?" King Therion shook his head gently. "Humans fight differently. They rely on instincts, improvisation, and courage. It may seem reckless, but it is controlled chaos. Watch carefully. You will learn much from him." But Lyria could not watch carefully without trembling. Every punch, every swing of Kale's training weapon seemed capable of destruction, yet at the same time she could see the skill and care in his movements. He avoided hitting the soldiers unnecessarily, guiding their weapons with precision, teaching them to anticipate the enemy rather than strike blindly. Later, as the sun climbed higher, alarms sounded across the city. Sensors detected a scouting party from the alien horde moving toward Valtheris. Panic spread among the civilians. Lyria felt her stomach tighten. "Kyle is here, right?" she asked her father, clinging to him as they looked out the palace window. "Yes," Therian said firmly. "He will help. But you must remember, fear does not help anyone. Courage does." Kyle, already at the gates, waited calmly with the soldiers. Lyria hid behind the balcony pillars, peering down as he assessed the approaching horde ships. His eyes narrowed slightly, scanning patterns in the enemy's movement that the aliens had not noticed. The first horde drones attacked, skimming over the city's shields. Alien soldiers fired energy blasts, but Kale's intervention made all the difference. He leapt over the railing, landing among the troops, and shouted instructions in short, sharp words that the aliens struggled to understand at first. "Form a line. Cover the sides. Watch for weak spots." He moved between the soldiers, correcting their aim, pushing them gently but firmly into better positions. A drone swooped toward an unguarded section of the city, and Kale jumped in front of it, slamming a shield into the drone and redirecting it into the ground. Sparks flew and alien soldiers gasped. Lyria's fear spiked. She had never seen anyone move like that. It was terrifying. Human strength and speed in motion, dangerous and unpredictable. Yet she could not deny that it worked. The soldiers followed his directions, and one by one the drones fell. "Father," she whispered, almost afraid to speak. He saved them. But he could have hurt them too." Therian placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Yes, but he did not. That is the difference between fear and courage, Lyria. Kyle uses power, but with thought. That is why he is called the unstoppable human warrior." The battle ended as quickly as it had begun. The scouts were destroyed and the city remained safe. Citizens cheered, but some still looked uneasy at Kale's presence. He did not bow or make speeches. Instead, he stood among the soldiers, catching his breath, his expression calm and focused. Afterward, Lyria could not resist approaching him. She hesitated at the edge of the courtyard. Kale?" He turned to her, his expression neutral but gentle. "Yes, Princess Lyria." You fight very differently," she said slowly. "It's scary, but it works. You saved the soldiers. And some of the children, too." Kyle smiled faintly. "I do what I can. I fight to protect. That is all any warrior should do." Lyria nodded but did not move closer. She still felt uneasy around him. His strength was overwhelming and his calmness unnerving. Yet a spark of admiration had begun to grow in her heart. As the day passed, Kale worked with the city's defense teams, showing them techniques they had never seen. Lyria watched from the balcony, noticing how differently he saw the battlefield. He moved in patterns that seemed strange and unpredictable to the aliens, but every step had a purpose. He anticipated attacks, prepared counters, and often placed himself in danger to protect others. "Why does he do that?" Lyria asked her tutor, an older alien named Solari. He risks himself so much. Is it bravery or foolishness?" Solari looked thoughtful. "It is human courage. They are strange beings, Princess. Their strength is not just in weapons or technology. It is in their willingness to face danger, to adapt, to act when others hesitate. Sometimes it appears foolish, but it is often cleverer than we can imagine." Lyria tried to understand, but her fear would not go away. She kept picturing Kale charging into danger, his armor flashing, his movements wild but precise. She shivered. That evening, a meeting was called in the Royal Council Hall. King Therian explained the strategy to defend the city against the incoming horde. Kale listened silently, then suggested several changes. "Your shields are strong, but the horde attacks in waves," he said. "You need flexible positions, not fixed lines. Move the teams in small units, and you can counter their attacks without risking the whole city. The alien generals looked skeptical. Some whispered to each other, questioning why a human, a stranger, would instruct them. One noble spoke openly. "King Therion, this human is clever, but his methods are strange. Can we trust him with our defenses?" Therion's voice was calm but firm. "Kale is here to help us. His experience may seem different, but it is valuable. We will follow his plan." Lyria watched the interaction silently. She noticed Kale's calmness in the face of doubt. His eyes did not waver. His tone was confident but not arrogant. Slowly, her fear began to mix with curiosity. Later that night, Lyria walked through the palace gardens, thinking about the day's events. The soft hum of the city's energy shields filled the air, and the scent of alien flowers drifted around her. She paused near a fountain, staring at her reflection in the water. "Am I foolish for fearing him?" she whispered. "He saved lives. And yet, I am still scared." A soft sound behind her made her turn. Kyle stepped from the shadows. Quiet, as a shadow himself. "Princess Lyria," he said softly. "May I speak with you?" Her heart skipped a beat. Yes, of course," she stammered. He stepped closer but did not invade her space. "I know my presence may be frightening. I do not mean to cause fear. But fear does not help us. Courage and understanding do." Lyria swallowed hard. I know, but it is difficult. You fight in ways we cannot imagine. You are powerful. I do not know how to see you as anything but terrifying." Kyle's expression softened. "It is natural. I am different, but I fight for you, for your people. You will see my actions, and you will understand. Sometimes, understanding comes only with time." She nodded slowly, feeling a strange mix of relief and continued fear. For the first time, Kale spoke to her not as a warrior to a king, but as a person to a person. It made her heart feel lighter, yet still cautious. As the twin moons rose, casting silver light over the city, Lyria returned to her room. She looked out at the horizon, at Kyle walking among the soldiers, training and preparing. Her fear had not disappeared, but a spark of curiosity and admiration had grown. She realized that the human warrior was not just a threat to fear, but a force that could change everything. The city of Valtheris awoke to a tense morning. Smoke from distant fires of minor horde skirmishes clouded the horizon. Scouts had reported a massive fleet approaching, far larger than anything the city had faced before. Citizens hurried to reinforce shields and secure their homes. Lyria stood at her balcony, her heart hammering. "Father," she said, gripping the railing. "They are coming. The horde is coming, and..." "Kyle." "Yes," King Therion said, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. "Kyle is ready. The city is ready. You must stay calm, Lyria. Fear will cloud your judgment." Lyria nodded but could not stop the flutter of unease in her chest. Kale, already outside, was organizing the soldiers. Unlike the alien generals, who relied heavily on fixed formations and calculations, Kale moved fluidly, issuing short commands that seemed chaotic but precise. He had divided the troops into small units, each assigned flexible roles. The aliens murmured among themselves, uneasy with his unorthodox approach. "Princess Lyria," Kale said when he noticed her watching. "Stay behind the front lines, but observe closely. What you see may seem frightening, but it is how we survive." Lyria nodded, gripping the balcony rail tightly. She watched as Kale moved like a force of nature, issuing orders and leading drills at the same time. He ran among the soldiers, repositioning shields, adjusting weapons, and correcting mistakes. Every move he made seemed sudden, unpredictable, yet nothing went wrong. The first horde ships arrived like black shadows darkening the sky. They unleashed energy blasts that rattled the city's shields. Citizens screamed as buildings shook, and the royal palace trembled. Kale did not hesitate. He shouted commands, moving among the troops as if he were everywhere at once. Alien soldiers dodged, fired, and blocked, following his instructions. When a horde drone slipped past the shields, Kale leapt into action. He grabbed an alien soldier, pushed him out of harm's way, and deflected the blast with his armored gauntlet. Sparks flew, and a nearby balcony crumbled. Lyria gasped. "Father," she whispered. He's in danger." Therion's face was calm. "Yes, but he is in control. Watch, Lyria. You will see." Kyle's movements were terrifying and mesmerizing. He dodged, struck, and deflected attacks with precision, sometimes placing himself directly in danger to protect others. Lyria felt her fear twisting into something else, a mixture of awe and admiration. The horde pressed harder, drones swarmed, in formations designed to break the city's defenses. Alien generals tried to maintain their traditional formations, but Kale's strategy was different. He sent small squads to flank the enemies, striking quickly and retreating before the horde could respond. His unpredictability confused the attackers, giving the alien soldiers openings they had never imagined. Lyria saw him save a group of children trapped in the courtyard. A blast from the horde destroyed part of the ground nearby, and Kale leapt into the gap, scooping the children into his arms and running to safety. His armor scratched and sparks flew from his boots, but he did not falter. Her heart raced. Fear and admiration battled inside her. He's incredible," she whispered. But not all the citizens felt safe. Some murmured fearfully. "He's too strong, too reckless." One whispered, "What if he loses control?" Kale moved through the battlefield like a storm, each step carefully planned but looking chaotic to the eye. He gave short commands, guided soldiers, and neutralized enemies before they could strike. The city's defenses held, stronger than ever thanks to his leadership. Amid the chaos, a massive horde assault ship appeared, bigger than anything Valtheris had ever seen. It unleashed a massive energy wave that tore through part of the outer shields. Soldiers panicked. Kale did not hesitate. He charged toward the breach, leaping onto an alien support structure to get closer. With a precise strike from his weapon, he disabled a critical component of the horde ship's attack system, causing the energy wave to disperse harmlessly into the sky. Lyria gasped. She had never imagined a single human could change the tide of battle like this. Her fear of him began to fade, replaced with awe and trust. During the chaos, Lyria herself found danger. She had been observing from a lower balcony when debris from the horde attack collapsed part of the railing. She fell, barely catching herself on the edge. Her scream echoed through the courtyard. Kyle was there instantly. In a single bound, he reached her, grabbing her arm and pulling her to safety. She clung to him, heart pounding. "Kale, thank you." He smiled faintly, setting her down safely. "Do not thank me yet, Princess. Stay behind me. The battle is not over." She looked at him in wonder. The human she had feared so much had saved her life. In that moment, she realized that her fear had been a misunderstanding. His strength, his bravery, his unusual methods, they were not threats but gifts. The horde's forces began to retreat after sustaining heavy losses. Kyle did not stop. He pursued them briefly, ensuring they could not regroup for a second attack. The alien soldiers, exhausted but alive, cheered. King Therion approached Kale, his expression serious but grateful. "You have done more than I imagined, Kale. Valtheris owes you its survival today." Kale shook his head. "I did what needed to be done. The people, the city, they fought as one. I only guided them." Lyria stepped forward, her golden eyes shining. "Kale, you are amazing. I was scared of you, but now I understand. You fight to protect, not to harm." Kale nodded. "That is all any warrior should do." The princess felt a warmth in her chest she could not explain. Her fear was gone, replaced with respect, admiration, and a strange excitement. She had seen courage and power combined in a way she never imagined. That evening, as the city repaired its damaged structures, Lyria found Kale practicing alone in the courtyard. She approached him cautiously. "Kyle," she said softly, "may I watch? I want to understand more about how you fight." Kyle smiled faintly. "Of course, Princess. Observe closely, and you will see why humans move the way we do. It is instinct, observation, and courage, all together." She watched him move, studying every step, every strike, every decision. Slowly, she began to see the method in his chaos. Each movement had a purpose, each strike a reason. Her fear melted, entirely, replaced with fascination. That night, Lyria wrote in her private journal, "Kale is not what I feared. He is strong, brave, and kind. He fights with a heart I cannot yet understand. I want to learn more. Perhaps he is the ally we need, and more than that, perhaps he is someone I can trust with my life." King Therion watched her from the doorway, smiling. Fear turned into understanding. That is the beginning of true alliance, Lyria. And far above the city, the horizon still glowed with the distant threat of the Horde. But for the first time, Lyria felt hope. With Kale, the unpredictable human warrior, standing with them, perhaps Valtheris could survive the storms to come. Little did she know, the battles ahead would test not only the strength of the city but the courage of its people and the bonds between alien and human. The city of Valtheris hummed with activity. Repairs from the Horde's attacks were underway and soldiers trained tirelessly under Kale's guidance. The alien city was resilient, but Lyria could see that the challenges were far from over. In the royal gardens, Lyria found Kale practicing alone. He moved with precision, striking training dummies with a controlled force that belied his earlier battlefield chaos. She approached quietly, watching him for a long time before he noticed her. "Princess Lyria," Kale said calmly. "You observe? Well, but training is not just about watching. Sometimes you must participate to understand fully." Lyria hesitated. I want to learn, Kale. I want to understand your strength, your courage. You saved the city, saved me. But I still do not fully understand humans." Kale's eyes softened. "Humans are different. Our strength is not in technology alone. It is in creativity, in instinct, in the willingness to risk everything for those we protect. That is why we survive where others might fail." Lyria listened, intently. "So, your unpredictability, your way of fighting, it is not recklessness?" Kyle shook his head. "No, it appears reckless because we think differently. Where aliens rely on structure and calculation, humans rely on observation, instinct, and improvisation. We see opportunities that others cannot. That is our advantage." Her mind raced. She had feared him for so long, but now she could see the reason behind every move, every decision, every daring action he had taken on the battlefield. She felt a spark of excitement. "Teach me," she said softly. "I want to learn to see as you see." Kyle studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. But training is more than skill. It is understanding fear, controlling it, and acting despite it. You are already brave, Princess. Now you must learn to fight with that bravery." The days passed quickly as Kale trained the princess and the city's soldiers. Lyria learned to move differently, to anticipate attacks, to act with instinct and courage. She stumbled, fell, and sometimes doubted herself. But Kale was patient, guiding her with quiet strength. During one session, a group of alien soldiers watched from the sidelines, whispering among themselves. "The human teaches her, but should a princess train like this?" one asked. Another shook his head. "It is not our way. We rely on the royal family for leadership, not battle training. This human changes everything." Lyria noticed their whispers but did not care. She felt herself growing stronger, not just in skill, but in confidence. Kale's lessons were harsh but fair. He encouraged her to trust her instincts, to see the battlefield as a whole, to move unpredictably like he did. Slowly, her fear of him disappeared completely, replaced with respect and admiration. One evening, as the twin moons rose over Valtheris, Cale shared his story with her. They sat on a terrace overlooking the glowing city. "My people," he began. "Humans are rare across the galaxy. We are often underestimated, seen as reckless or too simple. But we survive because we adapt. We think quickly, we act boldly, and we never give up, even when odds are against us." Lyria listened, fascinated. "So, your strength, it is not just physical?" "No," Kyle said. "It is mental, emotional, and instinctive. Courage is as important as skill. Fear is natural, but acting despite it, that is true power. That is what allows a single human to survive even when surrounded by enemies." She nodded, feeling a connection growing between them. I understand now. Your actions, they are not frightening. They are inspiring." Cale smiled faintly. "Good. That understanding is important. Fear blinds. Understanding strengthens. You are learning well, Princess Lyria." But not everyone in the city was pleased. Some nobles grew uneasy as they observed Lyria training with Cale. They whispered, behind closed doors, questioning the influence of a human warrior over the royal family. "This is not tradition," one noble complained. "A human teaching the princess, guiding our soldiers? What will become of Valtheris if we rely on outsiders?" Another nodded grimly. "We risk chaos. The human is unpredictable. Even if he saved the city, we cannot trust him entirely." King Therion was aware of the murmurs but chose patience. He understood that Cale's methods were unconventional, but they worked. And more importantly, he saw the bond forming between Lyria and the human warrior, a bond that could strengthen the city's defenses and inspire the people. The next morning, scouts reported another horde attack. This one was larger, more organized, and far more dangerous. Kyle wasted no time. He moved among the troops, assessing weaknesses and assigning tasks with speed and precision. Lyria followed, her heart steady but alert. She had learned much from him, and she wanted to put her new skills to the test. The battle began with a deafening roar. Horde ships descended like dark shadows, firing energy blasts that shook the city's defenses. Alien soldiers fired back, but Cale's strategy made the difference. He moved among them, repositioning troops, creating flanking opportunities, and predicting enemy movements before they happened. Lyria joined the fight from a safe position, using the techniques Cale had taught her. She moved differently now, acting with instinct and courage. She redirected soldiers, anticipated attacks, and even deflected an energy blast aimed at a civilian group. The thrill of using her new skills filled her with confidence and excitement. Amid the chaos, Kyle spotted a massive Horde assault ship preparing to fire on the city's shield generator. He shouted to Lyria, "Princess, stay close to me. We cannot let them destroy the shield." Together, they sprinted across the battlefield, dodging blasts and debris. Cale leapt onto the assault ship's landing platform and disabled critical systems with swift, precise strikes. Lyria followed, helping to protect the soldiers from smaller drones attacking them. The Horde's forces faltered under their combined efforts. Alien soldiers, inspired by the bravery of the human warrior and the princess, fought with renewed courage. They pressed the attack, pushing the Horde back. After hours of intense fighting, the Horde retreated, leaving the city intact. The citizens cheered, but more importantly, they now looked at Cale and Lyria with admiration rather than fear. King Therion approached them, pride shining in his eyes. "You have both done well. Valtheris owes its survival to courage, skill, and unity. Today the people have seen what true alliance can achieve." Lyria looked at Cale, feeling a deep respect and trust for him. I understand now, Cale. Humans are extraordinary. You are extraordinary." Cale nodded quietly. "And you, Princess, are brave. Fear once held you back, but you faced it. That is what matters most." Later that night, as the city celebrated its victory, Lyria reflected on all she had learned. Kale's teachings were more than combat. They were lessons in courage, trust, and understanding. She realized that humans, though rare and different, could bring strength and hope to the galaxy in ways she had never imagined. But in the shadows, the uneasy whispers of alien nobles continued. Some feared Kale's influence and the changes he brought to tradition. Others questioned whether humans could ever truly be trusted. The city's future hung in the balance, not just because of the Horde, but because of the choices its leaders would make. Yet for Lyria, one truth had become clear. Kale was not just a warrior. He was a teacher, an ally, and perhaps the key to Valtheris' survival. And deep inside, she felt a growing certainty that together, they could face any challenge the galaxy might throw at them. As the twin moons shone over the city, Kale stood on the balcony beside Lyria. They watched the horizon where distant stars hinted at future threats. Lyria felt no fear, only anticipation. The human warrior had revealed his secret strength, courage, instinct, and heart, and she knew that the coming battles would test not only the city's defenses but the bonds they had formed. The city of Valtheris trembled under the approaching shadow of the Horde's final assault. The alien fleet of ships had gathered in numbers unseen before, and their energy signatures glowed ominously across the horizon. Citizens fled to shelters, their faces pale with fear. Lyria stood on the balcony of the royal palace, her golden eyes fixed on the advancing enemy. "Father," she whispered, her voice tight. This is worse than before. Can we survive this?" King Tharion placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "With courage, unity, and strategy we can, and Kale stands with us. You have learned well, Princess. You are ready." Lyria took a deep breath. She thought of all the lessons Kale had taught her, of the courage he had shown, and of the bravery she had discovered within herself. For the first time, fear did not control her. Instead, it fueled her determination. Below, Kyle stood among the soldiers, calm and focused. His armor, scratched from earlier skirmishes, gleamed under the twin sun's light. He moved among the troops, issuing short, precise commands that had become a rhythm the alien soldiers were now accustomed to. "Spread into units of 5, Kale shouted. "Keep moving. Watch each other's backs. Anticipate their strikes." Alien soldiers, inspired by Kale's confidence and leadership, followed his directions without hesitation. Even those who had doubted him now fought with determination, trusting the human warrior's guidance. The Horde descended like a storm of darkness. Ships of every size unleashed energy blasts, and the city's shields flared in response. Alien soldiers fired back, but the Horde's numbers were overwhelming. Kale moved like a force of nature. He leapt onto the battlefield, deflecting energy, blasts with his armored gauntlets, redirecting attacks and striking enemies before they could react. Each movement appeared chaotic to the eye, but it was precise, deadly, and perfectly timed. Lyria, now trained and confident, joined the fight. She moved with agility, guiding soldiers, blocking attacks, and protecting civilians. The lessons Kale had taught her were now instincts. She anticipated the Horde's strikes and acted decisively. Her presence on the battlefield inspired others, and even some of the skeptical nobles could not help but notice her bravery. Amid the chaos, a massive Horde command ship hovered above the city, preparing to unleash a catastrophic energy blast that could destroy the main shield generator. The thick aliens froze, unsure how to respond. Kale did not hesitate. "Princess, stay close to me," he shouted. "We cannot allow them to destroy the shield." Together, Kale and Lyria sprinted toward the command ship's landing zone. Blasts of energy streaked past them, and debris rained down like metal hail. Kale leapt over obstacles, striking enemies in his path, while Lyria used her newly learned skills to redirect soldiers and deflect blasts. Reaching the platform, Kale scaled the ship with powerful jumps and precise strikes, disabling critical systems one by one. Lyria followed, closely, covering him from smaller drones attacking from the sides. She moved like a shadow, instinct guiding every action. Almost there. Kale muttered, targeting the ship's main weapon. With a final precise strike, he destroyed the energy amplifier, causing the blast to fizzle harmlessly into the sky. The Horde's forces faltered. Seeing their command ship disabled, the remaining attackers hesitated. Kyle seized the opportunity, rallying the soldiers. "Push forward. Do not let them regroup. Victory is ours if we act together." The alien soldiers surged, inspired by Kale's fearlessness and Lyria's leadership. Their energy weapons blazed and coordinated strikes drove the Horde back. Lyria fought at the forefront, striking decisively, directing soldiers and protecting the wounded. Her confidence had grown into skill, and her bravery inspired those around her. Finally, after hours of intense fighting, the Horde retreated. Their ships disappeared into the horizon, leaving the city battered but standing. The citizens erupted in cheers, and even the most skeptical nobles bowed in respect to Kale and the princess. King Therion approached, pride shining in his eyes. "You have both done more than I could have imagined. Valtheris owes its survival to your courage, Kale, and to your leadership, Lyria." Lyria turned to Kale, her eyes shining with gratitude and admiration. I understand now. Humans are extraordinary. You are extraordinary. Thank you, Kyle, for teaching me, for fighting with us, and for protecting this city. Kyle smiled faintly. You fought well, Princess. Bravery is not just my gift, it is within you too. Fear once held you back, but you faced it. That is true strength. The citizens gathered to celebrate their victory. Music, lights, and laughter filled the city, and for the first time in months, Valtheris felt truly safe. The princess stood beside Kale on the balcony, looking out at the glowing city. "You have changed everything," she said softly. "Not just for me, but for all of Valtheris. You showed us that strength is not only in weapons or technology, but in courage, trust, and action." Kale nodded. "That is the way humans survive. We adapt, we protect, and we inspire. That is what we bring to the galaxy: hope, courage, and determination." As night fell, the twin moons reflected off the city's towers, casting silver light on the victorious people. Lyria felt a deep sense of accomplishment and trust. She had faced her fear, learned from Kale, and fought alongside him. Together, they had saved their city from annihilation. Even the skeptical nobles could not ignore the truth. Humans, though rare and different, brought strength that no alien army could match. Kyle had proven that courage, instinct, and understanding could overcome overwhelming odds. King Therion stood beside Lyria, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Today, we have learned a lesson. Strength comes in many forms. Kale has shown us that humans, though different, can be allies, teachers, and heroes. Your people will remember this day forever." Lyria smiled, feeling hope bloom in her heart. "Yes, Father. And I trust him completely. He is more than a warrior. He is a friend. And perhaps more than that." Kyle looked at her, understanding, her meaning without words. They had fought together, trusted each other, and faced fear side by side. A bond had formed, stronger than steel, forged in courage and loyalty. In the days that followed, Valtheris rebuilt stronger than before. Citizens, trained under Kale's guidance, blending human tactics with alien technology, Lyria continued to train, growing more confident and skilled with each passing day. The Horde was gone, but the galaxy remained dangerous. Yet Lyria knew that with Kale by her side, and with the courage she had discovered within herself, no threat could destroy Valtheris. And as the twin moons shone over the city, Lyria whispered to Kale, "Thank you for everything. You have changed my life and our world." Kale nodded, his eyes calm and steady. "And you have changed mine, Princess. Together we can face anything." For the first time, Lyria felt no fear, not of humans, not of enemies, and not of the future. She had learned that courage, trust, and understanding could overcome even the greatest threats. The human warrior had saved her city, and in doing so, had inspired an entire civilization to believe in strength beyond their imagination. The stars above Valthera sparkled with possibility, and the city stood as a beacon of hope in the galaxy, a place where courage, unity, and human ingenuity had triumphed over fear. The alliance between humans and aliens had begun, and the legend of Kale, the human warrior, would be remembered for generations to come. Princess Lyria, once scared and uncertain, now stood tall, ready to lead, to fight, and to inspire. And at her side, Kale, the unstoppable human warrior, would always be there, courage incarnate, a symbol of hope, and a friend who had changed the course of history.